Hello. So here we have another problem involving kinematics. So this is our third problem on kinematics, but this problem involves a baseball or a range of baseballs. So a baseball that's been hit, and how far will the ball would travel after it was hit. So this kinematics problem, so it states a major league baseball player hits a fly ball. The ball leaves the bat with a velocity of 41 meters per second at an angle of 72 degrees above the horizontal. How far from the home plate does the center fielder need to stand if he's going to catch the ball at the same height from which it was hit? All right. Given that problem, do you think you can illustrate the problem? Because I always recommend to my students, before you go and start solving the problem, I want you to illustrate the problem because it's actually easy to analyze it if you know exactly how the problem looks like or how to approach the problem. So if you can illustrate the problem, then it would be easier to visualize what's really happening. So if you are given with this problem alone, can you illustrate it? Well, if you have to illustrate it, should be looking like this, right? So this is where the baseball player, so this is the baseball player here on point one. This is on point one. As you can see, he hit the ball at a certain height, 72 degrees from the horizontal. So this is the angle, that's the angle of hit, 72 degrees from the horizontal. But this is the height, this height. So he hit the ball at that height, at 72 degrees. Then the ball, of course, it's a fly ball. It goes up, then it reaches a certain point there. Then, of course, it goes down. The question is, how far would this one? Now, how far would that center fielder need to be standing? So I think the distance here, that distance there, so that catcher would catch the ball at the same height when it was released. So it's the same height here. So this must be the same height as the previous height here, right? When it was released. So how far would it be so that it could catch the ball? All right, so that is now the question, and that is how you would illustrate the problem. We are looking for the distance. All right, so as I've said, the first step always is to understand the problem. So a ball is hit, so there's a ball that's being hit. So what's the initial speed? Of course, it is given in the problem, 41 meters per second. The angle above the horizontal when it was hit is 72 degrees. And it lands, so it also states that it lands at the same height that it started. So that means the delta y, or the change of its of the travel along the y direction, or the vertical displacement, is 0. Now, because it lives at y, at a certain value of y, then when it hits the ground, and of course the catcher will catch it, it should be the same height. That means it would actually be the same height when the catcher would actually catch the ball. So that means delta y is 0. So what we want to know is the horizontal distance, or the range from the home plate where the fielder would catch it. That is what we need, a horizontal distance. So we'll need to ignore air resistance. By the way, if the problem doesn't say to ignore air resistance, then ignore air resistance. So that means gravity is the one that only affects the vertical motion. So that means it's only gravity that affects the ball and nothing else, no air resistance. So always assume that the air resistance is ignored or not part of the problem if it is not stated. If it is stated, then you will consider air resistance. But if it is not stated in the problem, then just ignore air resistance. And that would mean if you ignore air resistance, you only need to take into account gravity. And we know the value of gravity, right? The 9.8 meters per second. That is the only force that would now affect the ball as it travels from the bat and into the air and into the catcher. So that would be the first step. You understand the problem. Understand the problem. Illustrate the problem. Step 2, break initial velocity into components. So our step 2 is we have an initial velocity, right? We have initial velocity of 41, right, meters per second. So we have an initial velocity. This is our initial velocity, 41 meters per second. All right. So what we will do is we will break it into two components, right? We will have a component on X, and then we will have a component on the Y. So we will need to have a horizontal velocity. So because this is the constant throughout the flight since no horizontal force, right? So it will be constant, right? Horizontal force Vx. So can we compute the horizontal force? That's easy, right? Because we have here, it is something like that, right? And there's also an angle. The angle is 72 degrees, right? 72 degrees, right? So this is the velocity here. So the horizontal velocity is here, and it is V1 cosine of 72, right? So it is always the one, so it's cosine. So if you are solving for X, it should be V1 cosine of 72. So V1 is this one, that's V1, that's actually given, that's 41. And you multiply it by cosine of 42, it will give you the velocity on the X component, Vx. We have computed already Vx. Let's compute Vy. All right. If Vx is cosine, Vy should be the sine of 72. So it would be 41 times sine of 72, and the answer would be around 39 meters per second. So these are now the two components of our velocity. The first one is velocity component on the x-axis and velocity component on the y-axis. So these are our two velocities. And you will see as we go on why we need to have those components of the velocity. So step 3, we will compute the time of the flight. So the vertical motion. So it starts at y, of course, 0, because it starts at a height of 0, and end at a y of 0. Yes, it will end at a y of 0. And acceleration is 9.8 meters per second. Acceleration on the y, 9.8 meters per second squared, which is the acceleration of the gravity, right? Gravitational acceleration. Now, the first thing again to analyze is what kind of equation will you need to do. So, as I've said in my previous videos, please try to understand and to please try to memorize the equations. There are only a few equations in kinematics, so please try to memorize those equations. If you can write them down, write all the equations down. If the professor or your teacher would allow you to refer to your formulas or equations, then that would be best, because you can just look at your equations. Then from those list of yours, pick one that could somehow satisfy the given, all right? So in this case, if I will use this equation of kinematics, for example, then I could substitute the y, which is 0, and velocity 1 is actually given. As you can see here, the velocity y is 39. The velocity y, right? Velocity y, because we're looking at movement on the y, no? Vertical motion, movement on the y. So how it moves on the y. So that is why we have y here is 0, vertical along component on the y of the initial velocity, 39 times t minus 4.9 and then t squared. All right. All right. So we have here, you can compute for what is left here is actually the variable t. So in this equation, you only have t that is unknown. So you can factor it out. So in here you can factor it. So you can factor t outside. So what is left is this. So what you need to do is equate each factor into zero. That is what we always do, right? To solve for the value, we can equate the factors into zero. So we factor this, we factor it. After factoring, we equate it into zero. So when we equate the first one to zero, we have one value of time, which is zero. And when we equate this into zero, we can also compute for a time, which is 39 divided by 4.9, or the value is 7.96 seconds. So this is now the time of flight. So the time of flight of the ball, from starting point to the end point of the ball, where it starts, where it ends. So it travels at 7.96 seconds. All right, so that would be the vertical motion. What about the horizontal motion? So horizontal motion, we will use, of course, the velocity, which is horizontal velocity. All right, so we will use this formula, and the horizontal, the distance it travels, So we use the horizontal velocity to compute for the distance of travel of the ball, all right? The distance of travel of the ball. And of course, we have the velocity and the time. Remember, the time is the one that we just computed here, the time of travel of the ball from the moment it leaves the bat and the moment it was being caught, or being caught by the fielder. So the total time of travel is 7.96. This one is the horizontal velocity, and then you can compute for the distance of travel of the ball. So distance is equal to VT. Remember the formula, distance is equal to velocity times time. This is just the same, right? Distance is velocity and time, right? So the basic distance, velocity, time relationship, right? Distance is equal to VT. So the distance is unknown, the velocity is the velocity on the x-axis, because we want to solve for its horizontal distance of travel, and the time of travel from point 1 to point 2, which is 7.96 that we computed a while back. So if we use our calculator, we can solve a distance of 101 meters. So it means that the center fielder should stand about 101 meters from the home plate to catch the ball at the same height. So it would be something like this, right? So this is the fielder who should be, so the distance from the fielder, this distance must be 101. So this one is the one that's 101 meters. All right. So he should be standing 101 meters. All right. If you have some questions, please leave comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. All right. Thank you for watching.